I wrote a feature for The Guardian on Sunday once, titled The President's Women. It was at the instance of then editor German Anikulapo. The piece chronicled how former President Obasanjo lavishly appointed women in key governance areas and how robust and significant the contribution of those women were to Nigeria. At the just concluded IREP Documentary Festival, media entrepreneur and documentary filmmaker Kadria Ahmed reminded us of the progressive decline in the participation and representation of women in governance in Nigeria from the Obasanjo years. It got me thinking, truly, Nigeria has not witnessed such a number of women in governance since then. Now, let's contextualize the performance of women in governance during the COVID pandemic. The Guardian UK reports that countries led by women had systematically and significantly better COVID-19 outcomes, locking down earlier and suffering half as many deaths on average as those led by men. Osdenero et al. 2023 did a study on 14 female presidents' countries: Bangladesh, Barbados, Belgium, Bolivia, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Iceland, Lithuania, New Zealand, Norway, Serbia, and Taiwan. It says 63% of women-led countries launched coordinated information campaigns before their first confirmed case of COVID-19. And now to Namibia's female president, Nandi Ndaitwah, who has created an unprecedented situation in Africa globally, with women constituting 60% of our cabinet. Namibia now presents a progressively trackable case study of the representation, participation, and performance of women in governance. I find it intriguing, especially because the biggest democracy in the world, the United States, has failed twice in electing a woman to the highest political office in the land. Femi Odugbemi, co-founder of IREP Documentary Festival, talked about imagination engineering. He said a black president happened in America because there were movies portraying a black president being in charge and taking important decisions. The movies suggested strongly to Americans that a black president was possible, and it came to be. We need imagination re-engineering in Nigeria to re-embrace how significant women are in governance. We need positive portrayals and consciousness-awakening movies. Balanle Austin Peters already led the way with Fumilayo. Other creatives in Nollywood, over to you.
I love this advocacy. I'm all for women
in governance, more representation.
More representation.
Yes.
I've always been an advocate of affirmative action. Beyond us, I know you closed your advocacy with representation.
That's right.
But beyond representation, Nigeria is a largely patriarchal society. And the major barrier to a woman being in elective post is economic constraint. The amount of money required to win an election in Nigeria and the amount of power plays involved makes it very difficult for women to participate at a high level. Since 1999 till date, we've had a major decline. You know, Obasanjo gave us 3 senators and 10 House of Rep women representation. It peaked in 2011 when we had 7 female senators and 26 House of Rep members. Today, we have 3 senators and 11 House of Rep members. Like,
that's removing Natasha from them because they used to be
now
4.
We have removing Natasha from them.
Yeah.
Now they used to be 4. You know, we've done more than 20 years, and you know, it's backward, not even forward. And it's so sad that despite the pushing of the 5 gender bills that ensure 35% affirmative action, women are largely better risk managers. They are more cautious. I like the COVID statistics because we are less impulsive. We are more focused on long-term outcomes, and we are better at avoiding catastrophic losses. So this is a win. This is a strength and a weakness in governance sometimes. But then again, women are largely able to balance the losses. The idea is we don't want to lose anything. We want to advance, but we also don't want to lose anything. Women-led businesses, they also deliver better return to investors. So it's very important to have more women in governance so that the outcome for the entire country can be better.
So I'm going to focus more on proving why it's important that women take leadership role, because I feel like a lot of people want to say, oh, you know, they're this and they're that. So I'm going to give an example of a story. In 1968, there's this high school outside of Seattle. It's called Lakeside High School. And this high school, they had a mothers club. This is 1968. Yeah, they had a mothers club, right? And the mothers came together and bought a computer. Now, this is a high school. Back then, there were about 303 million kids across the world that were in high school. And out of those 303 million kids, only very few schools, very few high schools had access to computer, even, you know, universities. And today, that high school, there were two kids. One is Bill Gates, the other one is Alan, and both of them created Microsoft.
Interesting.
And then Bill Gates would always say, without Lakeside High School, there is no Microsoft. Because that computer that the mothers came together to buy is what he was working with every single day. During play period, he was there trying to understand how it worked, and he was able to build that interest for computers. What I'm trying to say, in essence, is women have foresight, right? That's one thing that we do not, because we have instant problems that we need to solve, so we're only looking for instant solutions as men. But women are long-term investors. That's why they would train a child today, knowing the fact that this thing I'm teaching you now will help you in the future. So women are
nurturers.
They're nurtured, they have foresight, and that ability is what we're wasting in our society. Just imagine, outside the political system, we have more women running, you know, banks now. Look at the growth rate. Like, there's evidence that these banks are making way more profits since they have female MDs and female CEOs.
So when we talk about women in leadership, especially in Nigeria, and just to pick you up of what Zuma had said, it's very expensive, you understand? The one thing that women are also very good at doing is working together collectively, coming together, putting money together. Like you talk about the computer, you see a lot of women come. I think in Jigawa State is where they came together to buy a car to be able to transport themselves to the hospital and stuff like that. So if we do that also, we will be more able to get more women into offices. We might not have as much money, one person, but together, if we work together, we will do that. For me, that's the project that I'm on. I'm working on that. Come 2027, as many women and youth, get them into the National Assembly.
The House of Rep,
yes, the Senate, and
yeah,
the House of Representatives. For the state houses, they will wait because it's a whole 36 days, and it's doable. What we need to do, we must build a war chest, and people must be ready to donate their small, their widow's mite, and we get that.
So we organize better.
Yes, women are better organizers.
Yeah.
I can tell you, the NSAS protest, without the FEMCO, those young women coming in, there wouldn't have been an NSAS protest the way we saw it, because they were the ones who were organizing. So they were able to organize across the nation. Otherwise, it would have just been normal protests and you just go on. So women are better organizers. But if you look at it, especially looking at our Nigerian context, women are brought up to organize. They are brought up to nurture, to serve.
That's
girls
right.
take care, put themselves last, which are the qualities of leadership. But when we get to that place where these qualities have been nurtured for so many years, sometimes since childhood, we don't make use of them. And so that's always something, you know, that worries.
Our society is more like Zuma said,
Patriarchal?
it's more patriarchal. And you find out that the way that we see the woman, especially in the place of governance and authority, it's almost like a case of we're indulging them. You know, instead of seeing them as real political power. And
Infantilizing that.
And I go back to what I said here a few weeks ago, that the women must start to look at themselves from the political power that they possess. Okay? I am a strong believer that when women come together and nest their political power in terms of their numbers, they can challenge the men. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And so the advocacy, which I will love Aisha and a lot of advocates, activists that are working in that region, is to let women know their rights and their political power. Let them exercise that political power, get enough of those of their people in the National Assembly, and then they can start dictating the rules.
Yes, indeed. It's that political power that I celebrate in the movie Fumilayo by Bolanle Austin Peter.
Yes.
It is powerful. And to see how women, just as Aisha said, can organize quite naturally. I think we need more of such movie portrayals to push us, to help us reimagine women in governance. It's time we got our heads and imaginations to grasp that fact. Women deserve a seat at the table. There is no justification for the existing imbalance. In this day and age, haba.
Haba, mana. Funke, it shouldn't surprise you. After all, we have taken to justify evil and calling it good.